with, but didn't know so much about what it was into it. I hadn't read and studied the Bhagavad Gita, and there was a man who was from Ghana, and he sat there in a talk at a university, and he knew the Bhagavad Gita like the back of his hand. And here I was, growing up with the Bhagavad Gita. My mother was reading it every day, telling us all about it, and I knew a minuscule amount compared to him. And I thought, that's powerful, that's convincing. I got to learn more about them here. So that's what kind of convinced. One of the main things that really convinced me, as well as the free food, for sure. When you're a student, then it comes in handy. But we're here in America, we're here in Boston. Why is it such a special place? Srila Prabhupada, who is our founder Acharya, who's sitting at the back there on the throne, he arrived when he never left India. He was in Vrindavan, the holiest of holy places. He was absorbed, he was blissful. He was a sannyasi, a renunciate. He didn't have any family ties, and he was absorbed in Krishna consciousness. He didn't need anything else, but he had a burning desire to share that bliss with others. So a selfish person, when they're happy, they're going to keep it to themselves. He wasn't in that category. He wanted to give it to others. And therefore he traveled the 7 seas on a freight ship. Not a nice cruise ship, on a freight ship. And with him he carried the Srimad Bhagavatam as his message. The message of goodwill for the West, he said. And when he arrived, he first touched American soil here in Boston. And it was a real culture shock. And I just went out. I'm surprised. I didn't know that our temple here is so central. We're right slap bang in the middle of Boston. It feels like, if anyone's been to London, we have a nice temple called ISKCON London, Soho Street, and it's right in the center of town. You walk out and there's Oxford Street. It's one of the most significant, biggest shopping streets in the world. So this is also very centrally located. So Srila Prabhupada arrived here in America. There were a lot less Indians then than there are now here in America. He looked around and it looked oh so foreign, such a foreign place. He'd never left India before. And he came here and he didn't know what to do. And he thought, I have a very profound message. I know that it's deep. I know that it's powerful. And I know that these people need this message. It will benefit people. There was no force. Krishna consciousness is not based on force. We're not ramming anything down anyone's throat, but we're peacefully sharing for those who are interested. And that was Srila Prabhupada's mood. But he thought, how will I penetrate the consciousness of these people? It seems like such a difficult task because their lifestyle, their approach to life, their perspective on life is just so different to what I have to share. But he understood that Krishna, you've brought me. There were so many otherworldly arrangements which precipitated Srila Prabhupada's trip to America. He knew, Krishna, you've brought me here, and I am your puppet. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 11:55, Nimitta matram bhava savisachin, become my instrument of origin. And therefore to mankind, to humanity, to his follower, he's saying, become my instrument. So in the same way, Srila Prabhupada said, I'm your instrument, I'm your puppet. Krishna, I'm your puppet. So, oh Lord, make me dance, dance. Oh Lord, make me dance. This was his way. So he stopped here first in Boston. He went to New York. When he got off the boat, that was the final stop here in America. He didn't know whether to turn left or to turn right. 69 years old, penniless, literally. Foreign country. It's such a foreign place in so many ways. He first went to the grocery store. And in India, you go, especially 60 years ago, you go to a grocery store, there's no stores. There's a kind of really, like a little, like a wagon where they're walking around with fruit and veg. But here there was a store, so that was a novelty within itself. And he put whatever he needed into these baskets. And then he went to the checkout. And then she scanned everything. And then she said, whatever it was, $4.65, sir. And then Srila Prabhupada said, how about 3? Because in India, which shop do you go to where you don't bargain? Prabhupada said, how about 3? She said, sir, there's no bargaining here. $4.65. And Prabhupada said, okay, $3.50. In the end, he had to pay the requested $4.65. Such a fallen face. On another occasion, a little later, Prabhupada, he was doing kirtan in New York in Tompkins Square Park. And this is one of the ways that he attracted attention, and he attracted a bit of a following. So there was one disciple of his, Mukunda, and they were in a car on one occasion, and Srila Prabhupada was eating an apple. And he took a couple of bites, and then he gave it to his disciple. Now, if you're familiar with the culture, and I'm sure most of you are, if you give your leftovers, your remnants to someone, if you're the spiritual teacher and you give your ward, your leftover, then that's a great act of mercy. It's a sign of intimacy. It's a very kind offering, and the disciple will be very inspired. But Mukunda was so new. So he took the apple and he was wondering, why is he giving me this apple? What do I do with it? So he thought, he took a couple of bites. He thought this was a ritual. He took a couple of bites, then he gave it back to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada thought, my God. I don't know what Srila Prabhupada thought, but you can just imagine. You can just imagine what Srila Prabhupada thought. They needed a lot of training. It's such a foreign culture, but Srila Prabhupada insisted regularly he would go to the boat, to the harbor in New York. He would look at the timetable and he said, when's the next ship back to India? He would ask regularly. Because it wasn't working. The first year, there's this book that I just held up. It's very apt. I didn't know it was here. It's called A Prabhupada Lilamrit. It's the leading biography of Srila Prabhupada's life. If you don't have it, please buy it. Alongside Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll talk about that in a moment. But this is a life story of Srila Prabhupada. So many people have read this and become so inspired. So he was so he gained some following. But the first year was described as a year in the wilderness. It was a tough time. There wasn't much traction. He was getting to know the people. He would sit on the tube, not tube, I'm from London, on the metro in London, in New York, and he would just go from one end of the line to the other, just observing people, working people out. How do they think? How do they walk? How do they talk? And how can I communicate this all-important message and penetrate their hearts? Just sit on the metro, go from one end to the other, and just observe. So it was a tough year. And then after that, more and more people started to come forward, and some following was gathered. One of the persons who became attracted was George Harrison of the Beatles. So he donated Bhaktivedanta Manor, where I kind of started my spiritual journey in truth in London. And they needed a home, a larger home than their place in London at the time. So it's out in the sticks, in the countryside, just outside of London. 70 acres of land. We have 70 cows, and it's a beautiful spiritual sanctuary and oasis for the soul. So George Harrison, the Beatles, bought this place for the Hare Krishna movement. Just a few years before, in 1970, he funded the printing of the Krishna book. If you know the Srimad Bhagavatam, the literature of all literatures, the Vedic canon has unlimited scriptures. You can read and study these literatures for your whole life, for many, many lifetimes, but you won't read them all. Never mind trying to understand them, get your head around them. So in his maturity, Srila Vyasadeva, he penned the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this Srimad Bhagavatam gives the essence of the entire Vedic canon. And the essence of that Srimad Bhagavatam, there's 12 cantos. The essence of those 12 cantos is the 10th canto, which describes Krishna's pastimes, his leelas in Vrindavan. And overall, his pastimes. He was on the planet 5,200 and something years ago. Krishna appeared on this planet and carried out pastimes for 125 Earth years. And he performed so many wonderful pastimes. Everything Krishna does is wonderful, is beautiful, is noteworthy. So those are summarized in this 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srila Prabhupada summarized that 10th canto in the form of the Krishna book. And that was published as early as 1970 because Srila Prabhupada wanted the devotees to know who Krishna is. Who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And in the Vedic scriptures, we have so much insight into the nature of God. His names, he has many names, his form, his qualities, his abode, his associates, his pastimes. There's so much insight into the nature of God. And it's so wonderful, it's so beautiful. So I thought I'd speak briefly today, limited time. We have on the altar Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. And just a couple of weeks ago here in Boston, we had Rath Yatra. So what is a pastime which surrounds this Rath Yatra? So the Rath Yatra is described as a festival of the chariots. Jagannath is called the Lord of the Universe, and he comes out to Boston to survey his kingdom. Actually, there are various false proprietors, thieves, people who claim ownership of the land outside. Actually, who owns the land? It's the Lord of the Universe, it's Jagannath. So he owns everything here. So he comes out to survey his property. This is one of the concepts of the Jagannath Rath Yatra. The deeper pastime behind it is that Krishna is the darling of Vrindavan. Who's been to Vrindavan? Quite a few of you. Who's heard of Vrindavan? Hopefully everyone. Yeah. So Vrindavan is Krishna's original home, but at a certain point after 15, almost 16 years, Krishna leaves Vrindavan. And in leaving Vrindavan, he tears the heart out of Brajvasis. He goes to Mathura, and then he goes to Dwarka. So when he's in Dwarka, he's missing Vrindavan so much. He stays in Mathura, he's in Vrindavan for 16 years, he's in Mathura for 25 years, and then he is in Dwarka for 125 minus 16 minus 25. Anyone good at maths?
84.
Very good. 84 years. So Krishna is in Dwarka for 84 years. It's a long, long time. So during that time, on one occasion, there is a solar eclipse. Is there a solar eclipse auspicious or inauspicious in the Vedic culture? Inauspicious. So there's a solar eclipse. So what do you do if there's a solar eclipse? Many people go to a holy river and they bathe in the holy river. Others go to a holy place. So Krishna decided on this occasion, he was in Dwarka, he's a king in Dwarka. Krishna has 16,108 wives and just as many palaces, and each has 10 children. Busy man. It's Dwarka. But he takes time out and he says, okay, it's a solar eclipse. I'll go to Kurukshetra. You all know Kurukshetra is the battle scene. The Bhagavad Gita is set in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Who's been to Kurukshetra? Yeah, quite a few have been to Kurukshetra also. Wonderful place. The conversation was 45 minutes. It took place on a little hill. And the opening verse of the Bhagavad Gita, who knows? The opening verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Hands, confident hands. 1, 2, 3 at the back, 4. Okay, 5, 6. Is that a 6th hand? Opening verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Remember, knowing the Bhagavad Gita like the back. I don't know why they have this phrase. I don't know the back of my hand very well, but knowing the Bhagavad Gita, basic scripture, this is the essence of knowledge. So the opening verse of the Bhagavad Gita is Dharam Kshetri Kurukshetri. So Kurukshetra was in Dharamkshetra. It's a place where many religious, pious, spiritual activities had taken place for eons. It was known to be a place where auspiciousness resided. And therefore, Krishna went to this all auspicious place. So Krishna went there, so the Vrajvasis thought, the residents of Vrindavan, they thought, okay, this is the time that maybe, just maybe, we can meet Krishna. We can have some association with Krishna. So they went there to Kurukshetra. But this was Krishna as a king. Krishna in Vrindavan is a cowherd boy. Very sweet. He's the darling of Vrindavan. He's the little blue boy. Everyone loves him. He's so sweet. He wears a yellow dhoti, a sash, a garland made of forest flowers. He wears a peacock feather. And everything's very relaxed. Everyone in Vrindavan loves Krishna, and Krishna loves everyone in Vrindavan. It's a very blissful place. For whatever reason, it's a long story. Krishna leaves, of course, and he becomes the king of Dwarka. So as a king, Krishna is wearing his armor, all of his kingly regalia, jewels, emeralds, diamonds littered across his clothes. He's very straight back, very prim and proper. And he's surrounded by guards and soldiers who are there for his safety. So when he goes to Kurukshetra, it's a time to meet all of the other kings from other lands, have meetings, discuss the politics, the economics, warfare, alliances. This is what kings have to do. These are the duties of any king. Krishna has to carry out such activities. So he's there in Kurukshetra, and the Vrajvasis arrive, and they see Krishna, and they're pained. They're very happy to see Krishna. Krishna is their long-lost son, their long-lost friend. They love Krishna, but this is a different Krishna. It's just like if you have a father or if you have a husband. When he's at home, then he's relaxed. You know, he's mummy, he's his father, he's daddy, he's your husband, squeezy cheeks, whatever you call your husband. But then when he goes to work tomorrow morning, they have to put on the suit and tie. I don't know what you guys wear these days. When I was working, it was always suit, and you have to be suited and booted, always. But you know, he has to be ready for work with his business suit, maybe with his briefcase, his laptop. It's a different person, same person, but a different mood. In the same way, Krishna's coming from Dwarka. It's the same Krishna, but not the same Krishna. This is Dwarka Krishna. It's not Vrindavan Krishna. So the Vrajvasis, they see this Krishna, and they're blissful, but pained at the same time. And he's surrounded. He's surrounded by other kings. He's surrounded by soldiers. Only Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they have the opportunity. A mother doesn't care. She doesn't care who's there. Her love is so pure, so boundless, so uninhibited by the surroundings. She marches through all of those people. She goes to Krishna. She ruffles his hair. She kisses him, leaves some lipstick on his cheek, and she hugs him. So Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, they're able to have some interaction with Krishna. But the others, they're not allowed. It's not possible. Let alone the gopis. So later, everything dies down. The solar eclipse is gone. It's dark, nighttime. Everyone's resting or about to rest. And at that point, the gopis, the Vrajavasis, they meet Krishna privately. And they say to Krishna, Krishna, we miss you so, so much. You're our darling. You're our beloved. You're our heart and soul, our lives, our words, our every deed, our consciousness. Everything revolves around you. We have nothing else. We have no one else but you. We may have each other, but life is just not the same. Vrindavan is not the same without you. So we have one request. It's amazing to see you, but look at what you're wearing. Look, so foreign, so formal. You're a king. We don't like this. And we can hear the soldiers in the background. They're there. They have their eyes on you. We have no real privacy. And the breeze is not the same. The breeze in Vrindavan carries the wonderful aroma of the jasmine, nice blooming jasmine. And when it enters the nostrils, it's so pleasant, such an aroma. Everything in Vrindavan is conscious. It's conscious and Krishna conscious. When the sun is shining and it's beating down on Krishna, and the trees, they reach out their branches like hands to shade Krishna and protect him from the midday sun. Everything is so conscious in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, they say that every step is a dance, every word is a song, and every day is a festival. That's the nature of Vrindavan. It's such a wonderful place. It's earthly. It's described that if you go there,